Sadly, today, while I was at work, I noticed this coming across the news. I'm sure you guys saw it too. A gunman opened fire at a light rail yard today, and this was out in San Jose, California. Killed 8 people. A police spokesman said the gunman, an employee, it's like a regular basis, like it doesn't even faze people anymore. 8 people dead. It was an employee at the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, which is a light rail hub. He is also dead, and many of the employees are the victims. Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen said the gunman took his own life as well. Now, nobody knows for sure how many employees were wounded, and these numbers are obviously going to change. The suspect was identified as Samuel Cassidy. At the moment, 8 are dead. They have not announced the number of wounded. Now, this is, as I said, it's like a daily occurrence. Deadly shooting rampages every day in America. It's like literally every day. If not every day, it's every other day. In March, 8 people, 6 of them women of Asian descent, were killed by a gunman at 3 spas in Atlanta. 6 days later, 10 people were killed at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. Weeks later, 8 people killed when a gunman opened fire at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. There were at least 12 mass shootings across 8 states in the United States this past weekend. They don't even talk about it anymore. It's such a daily occurrence. At least 11 people dead because not enough people died for it to make the news. That's why. 69 people injured. Now, mass shooting is an incident in which 4 or more people are killed or wounded by gunfire. That is CNN's definition, and that is the definition that Bradshaw Live is taking. So if their gun goes off and more than 4 people are hurt, that's a mass shooting. Now, there were 12 of those this past weekend alone, not including the San Jose, California, where 8 people died. The reason you don't hear about it is because not enough people died. Now, according to Gun Violence Archive, more than 7,500 people have died from gun violence just in the year 2021. We're not even 6 months through it yet. Is that shocking to you?
It's not shocking. It's sad, though. It's not shocking, but it's very sad.
Yes. So let's take a look over the weekend. All the mass shootings that people may not have heard about. In Chicago, 4 men between the ages of 20 and 41 were injured in a shooting. 3 people were killed and at least 3 others were injured in a shooting in Youngstown, Ohio, bar Sunday morning. 1 person is dead, 3 injured in an early morning shooting in an apartment complex in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 5 people were injured in a shooting at a large gathering in Paterson, New Jersey, early Sunday morning. A 16-year-old girl was killed and 5 others were injured at a shooting late Saturday night in Bicentennial Park, Columbus, Ohio.
Oh my God.
At a house party packed with hundreds of guests in Cumberland County, New Jersey. Gunfire erupted, killing at least 2 people and wounding a dozen. All of this past weekend.
Oh my God.
I'm not talking about weeks ago. I'm talking about in the last 48 hours. A shooting at an unauthorized concert in North Charleston, South Carolina, late Saturday night left a 14-year-old dead, 13 wounded.
Oh.
A 5-year-old boy was one of 4 people injured in a shooting at a Texas sports complex in San Angelo on Saturday. There are at least 9 gunshot victims, including 1 man who died after a shooting in downtown Minneapolis Saturday evening. In Jersey City, police found 2 people dead and 4 more injured after responding to multiple reports of gunshots on Friday night. All this past weekend. And then we wake up today to 8 dead in San Jose, California.
That's horrible.
And at what point do we say that guns are not protecting us, which is the argument? We need guns to protect us.
Yeah.
At what point do we say, if nobody has a gun, nobody gets killed? You can't go on a mass shooting with a knife or your fists.
Right.
And that I feel like that's the reason why the media isn't, showing it, because whoever is in whoever wants gun control, they probably have so much of control over the media as well. They're like, don't show this, because then it'll be, cause an uproar. Then everybody's gonna come out and be like, oh, no guns.
I don't know if it's so much that the media is controlled by that. I would disagree. I would argue that we are so sanitized to the violence that it's not a big deal anymore. Somebody gets shot, somebody gets killed. It doesn't ring as a tragedy anymore unless it's a situation where 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 people dead at one time. So I think it's just about sanitizing our own emotions and feelings that somebody got shot. Who cares? 4 people got injured by gunshot. Shrug our shoulders. Let's eat chicken for dinner. You know, nobody seems to care anymore because we're so sanitized to the violence already. And it's a situation where majority of Americans want to see some sort of gun control to avoid this gun violence on a regular basis. But politically, the NRA and many of the Republicans and even some conservative Democrats, I don't want to just say it's Republicans, it's many Democrats from many of the more rural states. The way that the system is set up right now is you are not going to pass gun legislation. There is a large minority of Americans who are controlling the gun legislation. I'm not saying a small minority, a large minority of Americans who control gun legislation. It just can't get passed. And that is very sad. And that's why you see Joe Biden not even concentrating on it, because he says he wants to concentrate on things that he thinks he can change. To put all his time and energy into gun control to ultimately fail, that's why he's looking at other areas.
As well as even for the cities mentioned. So something that stood out to me was Jersey City, New Jersey, which is really not too far from where I'm from originally in New Jersey. And there's a lot of gentrification happening in that area and in that city. And there are areas that are known to be, you know, a little more urban areas. And it's known, you know, to be familiar with this kind of danger. And it's even for the town, it's like, let's not raise too much awareness on this, especially knowing what we're trying to build in this space. Yeah. So there's also that.
Yeah, you know, I'm just looking at some of the comments, like Carol the Tiger says, I don't even watch the news anymore because it's too violent, you know, and Marcia McCullough agrees with Carol there. So does Stargirl Mika. Nobody wants to even watch the news anymore.
Well, my mom has always said that. She has always said she does not watch the news because it's like a scary movie and she already lives in one. So
yeah. On YouTube, Yanel504, I agree with your mom. He says everyone needs to have a carry permit. Yes, you can't stop a crazy person with a gun. What you can do is make guns more difficult to walk around with,
Absolutely.
Make bullets more harder to obtain. It is too easy right now. It is easier to get a gun permit than it is to get a learner's permit to drive a car.
And here on YouTube as well, it's Zell R saying when nobody gets a gun, nobody gets killed. Now it's clear. 1 + 1 is 2. People plus no guns equals nobody gets killed. Extremely simple, just like you were saying, Brad.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think guns protect people. I think guns cause more violence. My personal opinion is, you know, when people say I want a gun to protect myself, I think the violence that guns causes the violence. It's actually a self-fulfilling prophecy that more guns cause more violence. I need a gun to protect myself from the violence, and it's a self-perpetual prophecy. So I don't buy that argument. And I also don't buy the argument that you need guns to protect yourself from the government. The government's not coming to overtake you. I don't buy that argument either. And the last argument you hear from gun proponents is, well, I use guns for sport and I like to go hunting and you shouldn't stop me from going hunting, or something to that effect. And my answer to you is whatever joy you get out of hunting is outweighed by the violence guns causes.
That part.
When you weigh the two, you don't deserve to hunt anymore. So to me, you know, I'm way extreme. I don't think there should be any guns, period. Most people don't agree with me. They think there should be some level of guns, fine, but not where we're at right now in America.
I agree with you.
I know I'm in the minority. I think there should be no guns, but most people don't agree with me, but that's my opinion.
If it was whether you want to pick no guns or where we're at today, I would go the extreme as well and say no guns.
The other argument is, well, well, then the bad people will have guns because they're going to get guns anyway. And it's possible.
Illegally,
it's
yes.
possible they would get illegal guns, but there would certainly be a lot less guns on the street. It would be much more harder to get, and you would have a lot less killing. Meanwhile, the Washington Post reported that Manhattan's top prosecutor has convened a grand jury. This is the first step in charging Donald Trump with a crime or charging the Trump organization with a crime. The panel, convened by Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance, could also decide to indict Trump executives or even indict the Trump business. The grand jury is set to sit for 3 weeks a day for 6 months. They are calling it a special grand jury. And the only reason they call it a special grand jury is, A, it sounds better in the news, and B, a regular grand jury sits for a day or two and then either indicts or doesn't. Special grand jury sits for much longer. So that's why they're calling it a special grand jury. Now, without specifically referencing the news of the grand jury convening, the former president said in a statement last night, this quote, I'm quoting him, "This is a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in American history. It began the day I came down the escalator in Trump Tower, and it has never stopped." Now, news of the panel signals that the Vance's team of prosecutors who have been investigating the Trump organization for more than 2 years could be nearing the end of the probe. The Manhattan District's attorney's investigation drew renewed attention early this month following news that New York Attorney General Letitia James has joined the probe as well. So this is the story, guys. Let me break it down for you. All right. They are investigating as far as we know. Now, everything given to the grand jury is secret. So nobody knows what's given to the grand jury. And the grand jury is basically jurors. Just like you get picked to go to jury duty, you also get picked for a grand jury. Now, jurors in New York are generally 6 jurors to a jury. For the grand jury, it's 23 people. The difference between a grand jury and a jury trial is it's one-sided, meaning that it's the prosecutor presenting evidence to a grand jury. Is it more likely than not that a crime occurred? That's all a grand jury has to decide. And you don't need all 23 people to agree. You need a majority of the grand jurors. So if there's 23 people, that means 12 say yes, 11 say no, you get an indictment. Why do you need an indictment? Because a prosecutor needs a grand jury to charge somebody with a felony. If you're being charged with a felony, you need to go through a grand jury. If you're being charged with a misdemeanor, it could just be done by the prosecutor. So they want to charge either Donald Trump, executives of the Trump organization, the Trump organization itself, with felony or multiple felonies. They are going to present evidence to this grand jury. It's one-sided. So Donald Trump doesn't get to defend himself. Donald Trump's lawyers don't know what's being submitted to the grand jury. The grand jury only hears from one side, the prosecutor, which is why most lawyers learn their first couple days in law school, or the first couple of days they take a criminal law class, that a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich, meaning that they'll indict anybody because it's one-sided, there's no defense. Now, this is going to be over 6 months. And from what I understand from reading, again, everything is secret, so you don't know what is being presented. This seems to be what the allegations are. The allegations are that Donald Trump owns and the Trump organization owns these properties. And when he files his tax returns, and when the Trump organization files their tax returns, they devalue the properties. They make the properties worth less. And if they make their properties worth less money, they're paying less assessments in real estate taxes, or perhaps even in other taxes as well on the tax return. So when you devalue your real estate property, you are paying less taxes on a tax return, personal and business. Now, when they go to value their properties for insurance purposes, because God forbid there's a flood, there's a fire, there's an earthquake, there's a terrorist attack, they want to get top dollar to replace their buildings. When they go to refinance their buildings and they want to cash out their equity in the building. So, you say, okay, the building is worth $100 million. You want to cash out your equity. You get a big mortgage worth $100 million. You want to value that building as much as possible to cash out your equity and pay back the mortgage over 20, 30 years. So when they're going to cash out their equity and they're refinancing their building, they're saying their buildings are worth a lot of money. And on their tax returns, they're saying their buildings are worth a lot less to lower their taxes. So they're lying somewhere. That's the allegation. Okay? And that is criminal conduct. They're either lying on their taxes or they're lying on financial documentation to get mortgages or refinance their buildings. That is the allegation. Now, there's also other issues ancillary. Okay? They have Donald Trump's tax returns. He paid Stormy Daniels and many other women hush money. Did he declare that hush money on his taxes? There's another ancillary issue. Apparently, Ivanka, the daughter, was paid over close to $1 million yearly as a consultant. Did she pay taxes on that consultant fee? What did she do for that $1 million? So there's a lot of ancillary issues, and there's other issues we know nothing about that is being presented to the grand jury in secret by a prosecutor. Now, what the evidence we know at the moment is we got Michael Cohen, the former attorney. Remember him? Okay. He's the guy who wrote the check to Stormy Daniels for $200-something thousand. He took the rap for it. He went to jail for it, and he flipped on Donald Trump. And he says he's the star witness now in this new grand jury proceedings. If Michael Cohen is the star witness, they don't have enough to get Donald Trump to prove guilty because he has too much baggage on him. He's not a believable witness. So if it's Michael Cohen and that is it, how are you going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump did something wrong? Because you can shred Michael Cohen to bits on cross-examination. He's not believable. He's lied his whole entire life. So maybe he's telling the truth now, maybe he's not. But is that beyond a reasonable doubt? No. They have Trump's taxes. That's something. They have some other documents from Deutsche Bank that they got. We don't know what those documents are. That may be something, meaning that there are a paper trail of perhaps somebody doing something wrong. But in the end, they need something else, I believe, to actually get over the hump to prove that Donald Trump did something or the Trump organization did something beyond a reasonable doubt that was criminal. And you want to know where I believe that's going to come from? So we'll see how it turns out. We've been talking about him recently, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Take a guess. The Weasel.
Oh, the Weasel.
The Weasel. He is the Chief Alan Weaselberg, or Weisselberg. Yeah. We call him the Weasel.
A Weaselberg.
Weaselberg, yeah. But I think it's pronounced Weiselberg, but we'll call him Weaselberg.
Weaselberg.
Okay. He is the Chief Financial Officer of the Trump Organization. They are now investigating him for crimes. Now, he's squeaky clean in terms of he's not like a Michael Cohen who has already been shown to be a liar and a criminal. If they have Michael Cohen, some financial documents, and a guy like Weasel who flips and starts testifying against Donald Trump and the Trump Organization, that's when they're going to have big problems. They need that other star witness. You ever see the movie with Kevin Costner a long time ago and Robert De Niro called The Untouchables?
Heard of it, never saw it.
You heard of it. About Al Capone. Mm-hmm. Al Capone was untouchable.
Yes.
He was the gangster from the 1920s who was bootlegging alcohol during Prohibition. Great movie.
I went to his jail cell.
Yeah, right.
His jail cell in Jersey,
right.
In Philly.
And the big, and the big thing was Kevin Costner's Elliot Ness. He's the FBI agent who's investigating Al Capone. And Robert De Niro goes to Elliot Ness, "You got nothing on me. You got nothing on me," because nobody was testifying against him, or the people who was testifying against Al Capone were other criminals, and they couldn't pin anything on him. And then finally, they were able to flip Al Capone's bookkeeper. And because they flipped the bookkeeper, they got Al Capone, and he went to jail, not for bootlegging alcohol, because that was his real crime, not for killing people, not for running an organized crime syndicate, but for not filing his taxes properly. And this, to me, it's a great movie, by the way.
That's how they don't try and get him.
This seems to me like it's like history again. It's like history again in terms of like Donald Trump did all of these terrible, terrible crimes that we will find out over the course of history. But if they're going to get him, just like they got Al Capone,
they got to get him on something
They're going to get him on the tax return.
The tax return.
They're going to get, just like they got Al Capone on the tax return.
Because you have facts there, you'll have just like you said, bookkeepers. So that's
right. And they're going to flip the bookkeeper. So who's the bookkeeper? The chief financial officer? The weasel.
The weasel.
Wow.
The weasel.
So I think this is like the movie. This is like the movie playing itself out again, although the movie was real life,
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is life too. This could be real life too.
Jill goes in my ear instead of Pop Goes the Weasel. We can start singing Flip Goes the Weasel. So we'll see what happens. But I've just given you my opinion. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that's what I think will happen.
Awesome.
According to data from the Johns Hopkins University, the United States has reported more than 33 million COVID cases, 590,000 deaths. I have to say one thing. We've been reporting deaths all week. That has not gone up a lot.
That's good.
So kudos to the United States of America. Deaths are going down. Now, more than 50% of people in the United States have received at least one vaccine shot. More than 39% are fully vaccinated, which means 4 out of 10 Americans are fully vaccinated now. According to the White House, the vaccination rate for U.S. adults has surpassed 50%, and they are moving closer to at least one vaccination in the arm of 70% of adults by July 4th. The World Health Organization, however, says that unfortunately, more than 75% of all vaccinations worldwide have gone into the arms of people living in the 10 wealthiest countries. Last week, Joe Biden announced the United States would send another 20 million doses abroad, in addition to the 60 million he promised to India. I mean, the reality is, if you want to get rid of COVID, you got to put 1 billion shots in people's arms. Mm-hmm. Now, yesterday, Moderna said its COVID vaccine is not 99% or 98% effective for kids ages 12 to 17. It is 100% effective, meaning that they did a test study of children between the ages of 12 and 17. Nobody got COVID who took the vaccine. 100% effective in ages 12 to 17. Now, on Monday, Governor Cuomo said schools in New York can fully reopen in September based on the rates of COVID in the state of New York. And by the way, reopening schools in New York will do more for the economy of New York State than any stimulus check, although it's nice to get a stimulus check, because too many parents were saddled home taking care of children and not being able to go to work fully or concentrate on work fully. So many people in two family working homes, or one family where there's only one parent at home, too many families had to either give up their jobs because they were not able to come back to work, were not able to work from home efficiently or effectively because their kids were home. Besides school educating children, school is a way to have parents be comfortable and confident that their children are being taken care of while they go to work to make money for the family. This will do more for the New York State economy than anything else, putting kids back to school full time.
That's a really great point. I did.
Yes.
For sure.
You ready to get a little humpy?
Let's get Randy.
Now let's see what happened, why somebody is retiring from Pornhub. I never heard of such a retirement before.
Yeah, what's that about?
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Now, a former Pornhub devotee has announced he's done with Pornhub. A screenshot of the touching farewell speech has garnered more than 400,000 likes and 65,000 retweets on Twitter. This man was a porn addict who goes by Lil Dub One. He wrote, "Boys, I am not here to watch, but to announce my retirement. I've officially found the one person who is right for me." He goes on to describe his soulmate as a brilliant, beautiful, and loyal person who makes him happy every time he wakes up. I guess she or he would have to make this person very happy every day for him not to watch Pornhub, right?
That's she.
It's a she.
Yes, she.
I think that's so romantic.
You think so? How long do you think this will last? How long can somebody who's addicted to Pornhub, how long can somebody who is addicted to Pornhub, who watches porn regularly, all of a sudden now has a new woman in his life, how long will it last before he goes back?
Hey, you know what, Brad? I believe in love. I believe in love, and one can go cold turkey, okay? We can't just throw everybody in a big Pornhub pool, you know? Things happen, people change, love happens.
Now, I'm going to tell you what little Dubby said, or Little Dub One said. He said, "I hope one day you guys that are reading this find the same thing I have, and I know you will all miss me, and I will miss you."
What?
Yeah,
so was he like?
That's how
Was he like a famous commenter or a commentator?
Is this romantic? Is this a guy who says, "I'm going to give up alcohol," and goes back to the bar in a month?
I believe in this guy. Look, he's wishing his community well. That seems like a great man. You know, we each find our community where we find them.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's nice to say, but I think like alcohol is an addiction, drugs are an addiction. There's a lot of addiction. I mean, I'm addicted to food. I know it. Okay, everyone has their addictions in life. You know, I think somebody who would be addicted to porn can't give it up.
I mean, the story also said he was devoted to, not necessarily addicted to. So there could be a point in time where maybe I'm no longer as disciplined in this space.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what Twitter had to say. All right. Twitter had to say, one guy said, "Diagnosis, wholesome." Okay. Another guy said, "Farewell, fellow soldier. Our platoon will remain here on the battlefield, still searching for the #1 video." Rest easy now, brother. We'll take it from here. Everybody's searching for the #1 video on Pornhub.
I like that one.
Now I want you to know something. Not everybody was as positive. You know, I'm a little more negative on this. All right. So one skeptical person wrote, "Girlfriend standing behind him as he types this message."
Wow.
That could be true. Now, certain studies claim, all right, let's get into science here for a second. Certain studies claim that watching porn can improve your sex life and promote gender equality, while other research says it destroys relationships, the chances of erectile dysfunction, and even fosters sexual violence.
I think it would help.
You think watching porn helps your sex life?
I agree. Yeah. I would think that.
I think it depends. I mean, I guess there would be a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way to do it.
Absolutely.
And it depends on what your mindset is when you're watching. I guess. I haven't given enough thought to it. I don't know. Vanessa, I'll give you the last word on Pornhub. Man, giving it up.
Again, I believe in love, and I think he's going to make it, and everyone is going to have an opinion.
All right. Yeah. Man gives up Pornhub. Vanessa's last word on it. She believes in love. On the morning of May 20th, Prince William, who we have not heard enough from lately, Just doesn't seem to be in the news at all. The Duke of Cambridge took to his official royal Twitter account to post a photo of himself receiving his first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. He wrote, "To all those working on the vaccine rollout, thank you for everything you've done." Now, William is not the first royal to have received the shot. He follows family members, including his grandmother and Prince Charles. But Twitter users and royal fanatics alike seem to have been interested in William's vaccine, not due to the fact that he took it, but due to the prince exposing more of his assets than usual. Although the Duke of Cambridge's post was meant to be a well-meaning message of public service, it additionally provoked an entirely different reaction among followers on Twitter. Here are several of the hilarious responses. I guess he seems to have some muscles on his arm. I guess that's what they would be referring to. M. Selsborough wrote with a Bethany Frankel gif. Quite ironic Bethany Frankel gif. Good morning to Prince William and Prince William's vaccinated arm. Marcelin wrote, "Congratulations, your buffness, I mean your highness." And everyone talking about the jab, and here I am looking at those guns. Well done, William. Well, I guess he has not had any royal duties for a long time now, so he's had plenty of time to hit the gym, right?
To work out.
I mean, what has he got to do all day?
Right. I'm actually surprised he has arms like that.
Why?
He doesn't seem like the type that would have like a body like that.
Well,
you know?
I think if you got nothing to do all day and you got plenty of money and not a lot of worries other than what your dad thinks of you, you can hit the gym and you know, and pump some iron and be like, now I feel better. I don't care what dad thinks of me anymore. And now, right?
That sums up royal.
I think that sums it up. And I guess Meghan Markle, she's pretty happy with those guns too, right?
She should be.
She should be. All right. Now, soon you can do more on dating apps than just swipe right. You'll also be able to super swipe to promote vaccinations. The Biden administration announced Friday that dating apps are making it easier for singles to find others who've been vaccinated. The administration says new features launching over the next several weeks by Tinder, Hinge, Match, OkCupid, Bumble, BLK. What's BLK? I don't know what that one is. And other dating sites. Black dating sites. I guess I wouldn't know that one. And it's the biggest one. Okay. And other dating sites will help President Biden reach his goal of getting at least one shot in the arm of 70% of adults by July 4th. More than 60% of U.S. adults have at least one shot, according to the government. Andy Slavitt, the White House senior advisor on COVID-19 response, said, "We have finally found the one thing that makes us all more attractive, a vaccination." That's good, right? So people can find other vaccinated people. I heard on Tinder people are saying, "I'm vaccinated, I'm safe." I've heard people saying that.
Yeah, because, you know, during the pandemic, that was like a big thing with these dating sites. You know, usually you get on a dating site to meet people face to face. So like they were doing, you know, coming up with new things with like virtual dating and like going on virtual dates and whatnot. So like now the fact that you can put the fact that you're vaccinated and that you're, you know, safe enough to meet up, that's like a big plus.
Have you ever been on one of them? I'm sure everybody has at least tried, right? You've been on Tinder or one of those, right? Which ones have you ever used?
I did Tinder.
Which else?
Before.
What else?
Hinge.
Hinge. I've done Tinder and Hinge.
Yeah, I tried it.
I've done Bumble. I've done Match.
I didn't do those. I didn't do those.
What else have I done? I've done OkCupid once.
I haven't done any of these.
You've done none of those.
No, I don't chase. I attract.
Very good.
Ooh.
Now, Yo-Yo, would it matter to you if somebody said if you were swiping they were vaccinated, or you wouldn't care?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care.
Because you're vaccinated.
Right.
And Vanessa, although you attract, you don't chase. In the one hypothetical day you would be on one of these, would it matter to you? No, because you're not even vaccinated yourself.
I mean, exactly. I was going to say.
You're not even vaccinated yourself. So these two millennials really wouldn't matter to them, but Joe Biden, an octogenarian, thinks it would matter to people. So
I'm sure it will matter to some people.
Maybe it matters to some people. 6.7 million sperm samples are being shot off to the moon. I wonder how they're going to shoot these sperm samples off to the moon. Let's see.
Just like that. Look at that.
That's how they're doing
that.
it. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Yo-Yo, maybe yours could make it to the moon, but I don't think, I'm 52. I don't think mine would be able to shoot up to the moon at this point. Would yours be able to shoot up to the moon?
Absolutely.
You would. Okay. All right, let's see how they're going to shoot these sperm samples up to the moon. What they're calling a modern global insurance policy, mechanical engineers have proposed that humans establish a repository of reproductive cells, 6.7 million of them, on the moon. The proposed bank would be beneath the moon's surface. This is a proposal. They're not actually doing it. The study by Jenkin Tanga, whose team at the University of Arizona submitted their report titled Lunar Pits and Lava Tubes of a Modern Arc at the annual Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers Aerospace Conference in March. Due to the planet's instability, an Earth-based repository would leave specimens vulnerable. As such, Tanga proposed jump-starting a planetary exodus of sorts of founding a human seed vault on the moon as soon as possible. My question would be this. If the Earth has become so uninhabitable that we would not be able to keep a sperm bank on our planet, and we would have to keep the sperm bank on another planet, buried deep in that planet. If this is, who the hell's going to make it to the moon to be able to do anything with these sperms anyway? We all died on planet Earth.
Right.
How the hell is that going to work? Let's shoot it. Let's bury sperm on the moon as an extra sperm bank just to save the world, because this world is uninhabitable. But how the hell are we going to get to the moon to get our sperm? We're all dead on this Earth. And then let's assume we can get there. How the hell is anyone going to know where to dig this up and what to do with it once they dig it up?
It sounds like a good night of some good LA ganja. Like somebody was smoking something and just like thought of the most outlandish thing.
This sounds like some guy got some money to make a report. He's like, I gotta write something quick.
There might other people out there. We don't know. Maybe we're not alone.
I don't know. That seems like the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. And finally, New Jersey native Laura Jasorka says she finds it freeing sharing photos of rock climbing naked. I'd like to see where she's climbing. Let's see. The 37-year-old climber told Casters News how she started posing for her own natural climbs this year. She said, I instantly fell in love with naked rock climbing. It's very freeing. She quotes, I am more prone to grazes when rock climbing and may end with more scratches, but at least I'm not snagging my clothes. My friends and family admire my photos and they think it's beautiful to see me at one with nature. I'm not doing anything illegal and I don't show off. She said she would hate for others to look at the photos in that sort of way. She finds the pictures artistic. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, is this just being thirsty and promoting pornography or promoting her body or promoting herself, or is this art?
I mean, you know, it's whatever she wants it to be. I'll let her, you know. Empowering
or nude, or just being nude and doing something for promotion?
I mean, you know, we covered a story where there was a group of like young women that went to like different mountains and like Grand Canyons and stuff like that, and they like took pictures of their shirts off, you know, from the back. So I feel like it's empowering, you know, just feel free. Love your body.
Yeah, I agree with them. I just think that's just what she likes to do. It's just part of who she is.
Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.